Hello, and welcome. James Mann here with another truth video, showing that we are lied to about our reality, every single day. But, even a flat earth researcher has to have some fun. I found a pair of my 30-year-old glasses, and thought it would be funny to put some eyes from a toy on them. Then I walked in the family room where my wife, our son and his family were. It was hilarious and everyone wanted to try them on. Today's video is dedicated to children with parents who refuse to look at truth. If you're a Christian, please pray for our globe-believing family. Thanks. This image is from a video taken by a globe believer who calls himself Soundly. The screen capture is showing the Lake Pontchartrain transmission lines being affected by refraction, which he claims is curvature that matches globe Earth predictions. Soundly sees curvature where there is only refraction, and refraction is just an optical effect, and has nothing at all to do with alleged curvature. There were many who backed Soundly's claim. YouTubers like Rhetoric, Mick West, Hith, and Wolfie6020. They looked at this image, and all of them said, yeah, that's definitely curvature. It is so obvious that this is refraction, it makes me wonder if these people are honest. Look at the curve and image how small globe Earth would have to be. Our childhood programming has us believing ridiculous things without thinking critically. For more than 5 years I have been making observations over water. I have many of those videos on my channel. For example, this is Martin Head on Fundy Bay, New Brunswick. I am 21 miles away, at Cape and Rage, New Brunswick, where my eye level is 22 feet above sea level. Just like we see in Soundly's image of the Lake Pontchartrain transmission lines, there is refraction hiding the bottom half of the 80-foot-high island. Earth curvature calculators say there should be 155 feet of curvature blocking the 80-foot-high island. I have personally shown there is zero measurable curvature, to match the demand based on distance and eye level above sea level. The concrete block at the base of the steps is 22 feet above sea level, so with my camera on my tripod the lens is at 24 feet above sea level. I am looking 16 miles to the point on the left, 19 miles to the point on the right, and 30 miles to the wind turbines at Amherst, Nova Scotia. Earth curvature calculators say there would be 66.6 feet of curvature to the 16 miles point with a 24-foot lens height. The point on the right at 19 miles would have to have 112 feet of curvature. And the wind turbines 30 miles away would have 384 feet of alleged curvature. Note that the turbine blades are 100 feet long, making a vertical blade tip 400 feet, yet we see the turbine at 300 feet. That's zero measurable curvature, looking 30 miles, and that means there can be zero curvature at either of those 2 points. Soundly's observation is looking less than 20 miles. I believe his eye level was between 50 and 60 feet above sea level. I have shown there is zero measurable curvature to 30 miles, from just 22 feet above sea level. Personally, I feel this shows there can be zero measurable curvature in Soundly's 16-mile footage, and that means he is wrong in claiming there is curvature that matches globe model predictions. All these people believe Soundly, without verifying his claim, and they put his video on their channel, saying flat Earth is debunked. These are not honest people. Based on 5 years of my own researching, specifically looking for measurable curvature, to match globe Earth predictions, made by Earth curvature calculators, I can safely say, Soundly's observation isn't very sound. I have made more than 1,000 observations, over water, that debunk Soundly, and those who agree with him. Here is Soundly's video of the Lake Pontchartrain transmission lines, where he claims he sees Earth curvature, over just 16 miles. Here are a few videos from other truthers, who would agree that Soundly's claim that this is predicted globe curvature, isn't really on the level. A YouTuber named, A Man Like Me, says this about Lake Pontchartrain. I never understood the supposed truth for the sphere shown at the lake. How can the Earth curve at the rate it appears to curve on video at Lake Pontchartrain, and fit all the miles between the shores, land and sea on the sphere? The curve that appears, is an illusion. This video isn't as far, but we see the shore on the other side, that I believe is further than the supposed curve in Soundly's video. This isn't possible on an Earth that is curved at that rate of curvature.
Alright, Flat Earthers, this is the shot I've been trying to get. I am dangerously on 55 and I-10 junction in New Orleans over Lake Pontchartrain. These are the utility poles that run 18 miles across the lake. And I just wanted to show you the shore on the other side. They do not dip down 60 feet. They are perfectly level.
So before we go and finish off this video, I just want to kind of compare and contrast these two photos. So as you can see from the video, we've got some very straight converging lines here. The bottom of the power lines, the top of the power lines are converging into a single point, which for those of you that have done the research, you know that that's how eyes work. That there's a vanishing point due to the limits of our vision, and this is very consistent. I don't know about you guys, but this is very consistent with what I see in real life. So if we go back to the picture, it looks quite different. Obviously, you've got this curve at the end here, almost like we live on more of a cylinder or a tube, because we've got no curve from the left to the right of the image. That's very flat. And what is the distance, from the very left of this image to the very right compared to where the person taking the picture to the last power line that we can see there? What's that distance? We can see, the converging line kind of sloping away there, dropping away from us, almost like it's falling off the edge there. It's not curving away consistently. It looks like it's very straight up to a point like about right here. I don't know if you can see where my mouse is. And then from there, we've got this curve happening. So it's flat up to a point, and that's where the curve starts. But we don't see it from the left to the right. So that's what the photo shows. And so I would just ask, as you watch the rest of the video here, is this what you see in real life? Is this how your eyes work? Is this what you observe? Or do you see more of this?
All the way to the shoreline right there. They don't disappear. They don't go over a curve.
This clip is Karen B. and Dr. Zach, debunking the claim that Lake Pontchartrain has measurable curvature.
Okay, as we know now that the power lines are not on a straight line, we decided to do an experiment to illustrate that. So we placed the Lego towers in a curved line on a table that is perfectly flat, as you can see here. And the towers are all the same height. Now, as we lower the camera, the horizon gets closer to us, but the edge of the table becomes invisible. Or let's say the edge of the table disappears behind the new horizon line that we created by lowering the camera. Please bear in mind that on this table there are no atmospheric conditions that make it more difficult to see what is behind our horizon line in the real world. Also, bear in mind that this table is only 6 feet long. Imagine what this would look like if it was 23 miles long. Now let's take a look at the Lego towers. Do they look like they are going behind the curvature? Or is it just an optical illusion? Look at the top of these towers. Now look at the bottom. If we can get the horizon line closer to us than the last 4 towers, then those 4 towers will look like they are behind the curvature. If we zoom in a lot, we will get them back into view, but of course, if there was any atmospheric conditions or refraction, it would be impossible to bring them back into view. So in the real world, no matter how good your telescope is, what is behind the horizon line that is covered up by the non-uniform density transition zone will stay behind it. If we put a piece of glass on the horizon of this table, then things will start to disappear behind it and there is no way you can see them again. Even if this piece of glass is only 1 inch high, the Titanic would disappear behind it, because as it moves away from you, it becomes smaller and smaller until it finally disappears behind it. And of course, if that piece of glass was thicker and higher, it could disappear before it gets smaller. That's how the atmosphere works, and we will talk about this in detail in another video, but for now let's just enjoy watching the curvature on a flat table.
You should be honest with yourself and investigate more before you bring up such an argument. If those power lines prove that the earth is round, then these Lego towers prove that the table is round too, right? Wrong. The table is flat and the Lego towers are not on a straight line, and neither are the power lines. And here are some pictures of a 23 miles bridge that is in the same lake but shows no curvature. You know why? Because that bridge from these positions is on a straight line. If you take another picture from where the bridge is curving a little bit, it will give you the same illusion of a curvature. And here is another picture of the same bridge that shows that. Look carefully at this point right here. Do you see how the bridge is curving? Is it because of the curvature? No, of course not. The bridge is also curved like the power lines. As you can see here in Google Earth, it's curved. That is why you see a curve. If you take the same shots of other bridges in the world, you will get shocked, and the earth will always look flat to you.
New Orleans is called the city of second chances, but not even the globe gets a second chance here. Curved water has not been found, not here or anywhere.
And
contradictions do not exist. Whenever you think you're facing a contradiction, check your premises. You'll find that one of them is wrong.
Thanks for watching.
Greetings. In this video, I wanted to look at the Lake Pontchartrain, and this article here demonstrates Lake Pontchartrain demonstrates the curve of the Earth. Set, game, and match flat earthers. Okay, so there's a lot of things happening with this photo, and I've seen lots of videos where people are saying game over flat earthers. They're at Lake Pontchartrain. And if you hang with me, we're going to go to Global Earth and take a look at this, and we're going to take a look at another interesting video that all this stuff has to be considered, because there's a lot of optical things happening here. The first thing you notice is, yes, it does look like it curves. There's a Fata Morgana thing happening here, and I'm going to go to Google Earth and we're going to take a look at this. But the biggest thing that jumps out to me is if this is the curve of the Earth and you believe in the helio-nonsensical model, I mean, do you think the Earth is smaller than the moon? So the circumference of the Earth is 25,000 miles. This, from where this road is, where this photo was taken, and we're going to take a look at that, to this tower back here is 16 miles. And I'm actually being generous. I think it's like 15 and a half miles. So that is not even, it's 0.064%. It's not even 1/10 of 1% of the world. So you'd have to think the world is pretty small. There's a lot of optical things happening here, and let's dive into it. Here is where the transmission line changes. Goes to a different height. There's a little waterway here. We're going to take a look at, here we are on actual Google Earth. So this is where it changes. Okay, so what you're seeing down here is those lines right here, and then this tower right here is this tower right here. And so you can see that there's something going on. It's hard to tell where the horizon ends, but you can see where these legs on this last tower want to straighten out. But if you look at it, they're definitely at an angle. So I'm just trying to bring up that there's a lot of optical things happening. And also this is I don't know if this plays a part, I just had this thought. This is a saltwater lake. A lot of people don't know that. And these power lines generate a pretty good electromagnetic field. And so I wonder if the salt water and the electromagnetic field also react kind of like heat waves and cause distortion. It's very minimal. Actually, I know that they do, but it's very minimal distortion, visual distortion. But if you stretch it out over 15 and a half miles, you know, maybe. But there's a lot of optical things to consider. Here's the biggest thing that I want to show. Let me get this guy turned off here. Okay, now we're going to zoom out. And, okay, let's take a measurement, because it's right here on this road where people are taking, and then it changes. It changes to, okay, so they're saying 16 miles is what I put it at. I think it's really 15 and a half if I took a little more time with that, but there's a little spillway here. Okay, but I'll be generous, we'll call it 16 miles. So we're going to keep zooming out. Okay, so there's Lake Pontchartrain. Okay, and I want to show. So you really can't see Lake Pontchartrain anymore. You can just see the little mark that I put there. So if you think that Lake Pontchartrain captures the curve of the Earth, remember you have to start where that curve ends. You still have to go all the way. You have to capture all this land, all this ocean. Keep going. Keep going. And keep going. Keep going. And there it is again. So this little speck in here, like I said, it's 0.064% of the circumference of the world, if you believe this is the world we live in. So that is, and you think, so it's 0.064%, so it's not even 1/10 of 1%, and you think you're going to see this much curve? I don't know. I think there's a lot of problems with that. This is a video that somebody else did, and I'll put a link to it, where he set up dominoes on his table, and you can see the last domino is a blue domino, and you can see where it starts to curve. I'll show you how he set that up. He used spacers. He made sure, I was really impressed with what he did. It set it on the edge of the table so it's straight. He used spacers, and you can see as he set his camera down, it gives the illusion that it's starting to curve even though it's on a flat tabletop. And he puts some lines in here. You can see now, remember the last ones are, he's got a couple yellow ones and a blue one, and they actually drop below his straight line. And then he's got a curved line in here somewhere. He's got the path that optically the dominoes follow. And you can see that last blue domino and the yellow ones, and he's got that sitting there, and he does a good job setting it all up. So I'll put a link to that. So in conclusion, I guess my point to this whole video is, yes, this does look like it curves, but you have to stop and use discernment and common sense. There's definitely a lot of things happening here. You know, there's a Fata Morgana thing happening here. Why do these legs of this last tower look straight when they're obviously not? And the biggest thing is, this is 0.064%, so it's not even 1/10 of 1%, not even, of the curve of the Earth, of the circumference of the Earth, this 16 miles. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to encourage people to do their own research. If you have a long table at home and some dominoes, set it up for yourself, see what happens. Go to Google Earth and just type in Lake Pontchartrain and check all this out for yourself. You can drop the guy down on the water. They've got the Google Earth people down in the water as well, all around these towers. And you can just play around with this and see all these things for yourself. And there actually is a neat little neighborhood. The reason why these taller towers are there is because there's a neighborhood back there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. As always, have a great day.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Flat Earth School, the school that's around us 24/7 since the beginning of existence. I'm Mitchell from Australia, and this is going to be the biggest, most epic globe debunking ever. So get your affairs in order, Globers, because there's no coming back from this.
There's a 630 square mile estuary in southern Louisiana known as Lake Pontchartrain. In May of 2017, a man by the name of Lance Caraccioli photographed the Lake Pontchartrain transmission lines that stretched 16 miles from Laplace to Manchac. As you can see, these lines are a monument to the curvature of the Earth. A little further to the east, when on their way to New Orleans, travelers crossed this body of water on one of the most amazing bridges in the world, the 24-mile-long Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. Again, Lance's images capture the shape of the Earth. Since then, the geometry of the causeway has been profiled by collecting Earth-centered, Earth-fixed coordinates collected with high-precision GPS by Jesse Kozlowski, modeled in 3D by Walter Bislin, and photographed from 155-foot elevation by Lance. These three techniques agree. The shape of the Earth is clearly round. You can find more imagery by Lance on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Soundly.
So we've got a claim that Soundly has captured the shape of the Earth with these videos and images on his YouTube channel. And videos like this claim to show that the Earth is clearly round, being so confident in his observations that he titles these videos Flat Earth Debunked and Witness the Curvature of the Earth, Flat Earth Debunked. So game over for Flat Earth, right? I mean, every glober should be using these videos and images from Soundly as proof that the horizon is physical Earth curve that blocks things. Well, here's Mick West taking to his website, metabunk.org, claiming soundly proving the curvature of the Earth at Lake Pontchartrain. The Lake Pontchartrain power lines demonstrate the curvature of the Earth. The same Mick West that's been on Joe Rogan Experience not once, but twice, leading to ZMEScience.com writing an article using Mick West's post of Soundly's observations to also claim the power lines over Lake Pontchartrain elegantly demonstrate the curvature of the Earth. Game, set, match, flat earthers. The image is also being used in memes, and other YouTubers adopting the images as proof of Earth curve.
This is a set of power lines on Lake Pontchartrain, and it just so happens to show the curvature of the Earth.
Some people even using the images at Lake Pontchartrain in debates against flat earthers as proof of Earth curve.
I'm not sure if you've become aware of this. I'm sure you guys are aware of this. It's a place called Lake Pontchartrain. It's the transmission lines in Louisiana, United States. This image was done originally by a YouTuber named Soundly. There's tons of videos talking about all of this. And this image was virtually modeled on a spherical Earth with a circumference of 40,000 kilometers. The model made a prediction that if zoomed in at the specific height, what we should see. This image is what the model showed, and when this shot was done in reality, that's exactly what you see.
As you just heard, the glober's argument now becomes comparing a model of the globe to what we see in reality.
I'm arguing about the geometry of the planet. I jump to what is some of the best evidence for curvature of the Earth, and that is Soundly's Lake Pontchartrain causeway observation. The length of the causeway makes it possible to see the curvature of the Earth directly, given a clear enough day.
Red's Rhetoric, you're busted again, for lying to your gullible followers, for gain. Flat Earth researchers, like myself, easily debunk this claim. And we do it with real-world observations.
When atmospheric clarity allows for it, you'll be able to see the causeway literally curving with the Earth. What is amazing here is that this observation was virtually modeled with the assumed size and shape of the globe. And when you compare the computer renderings to what was actually observed, they match as expected. This shows that the round Earth model made a prediction, and that prediction turned out to be the case. This is great because only models that are able to reliably make predictions are the ones that should be followed and trusted. And I think it's safe to say that the round Earth model has passed that test.
Well, hold on there, Red's Rhetoric, because this is where this video gets juicy. It is claimed that this image shows Earth curve. It starts with the assumption that the horizon is the geometric leading edge of a sphere capable of physically blocking things like those transmission lines. Now that Walter Bislin has rendered a globe model over the top of the image using the assumed geometric constraints of the globe, we now have a claimed distance measurement to the horizon in this image. So from the observer's stated height of 10.3 meters, the distance measurement to horizon in this image is 11,754 meters. Now that we know the distance to the horizon in this image, we're going to see if this actually does match the official geometric limitations of the globe, like Red's Rhetoric claims it does. To avoid any cries of strawmanning the globe's official geometry, MC Toon has pointed us to the Earth Curve Calculator on a website that uses the correct maths in the formula for the distance to the geometric horizon on the globe. The link takes us to another one of Walter Bislin's websites, the Advanced Earth Curve Calculator, where we can see the formula used for the distance to the geometric horizon on the globe indeed matches the official globe geometry of 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, or 3.569 times the square root of the observer's height in meters. And in agreement with MC Toon, Wolfie6020 also recommends Walter Bislin's Advanced Earth Curve Calculator.
So I was very happy this morning to see an email from Walter Bislin. Walter's new Advanced Earth Curve Calculator sets a new standard because it gives you a visual representation. This is really an excellent calculator for allowing us to conduct real observations and then using this calculator to predict whether the real observations are matching a globe. So thanks again, Walter. Your contribution to research is just outstanding, and I can't speak highly enough of your work.
Great, so now we can use the Advanced Earth Curve Calculator, approved and endorsed by the Globers, to confirm if the distance to the horizon measured at Lake Pontchartrain matches the official globe geometry. The observer's height in Soundly's image was 10.3 meters. Entering this into the Advanced Earth Curve Calculator from 10.3 meter height, the official distance to the geometric horizon on the globe model must be no more than 11,460 meters. This is the official geometric limitations of the globe from that height. That means that the distance to the horizon in this photo taken by Soundly has to be no more than 11,460 meters. But as you can clearly see, from Soundly's observer height of 10.3 meters, the distance measurement to the horizon in this image is further than that, at 11,754 meters. For those playing at home, that means that this image of Soundly's, used by so many Globers as proof of Earth curve, this horizon, in fact, exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe. This image isn't earth curve proof at all. In fact, it is the Lake Pontchartrain Black Swan. That's right, this image captured by Soundly at Lake Pontchartrain is a black swan. So how does this devastating discovery debunk the globe? Well, this black swan asserts Earth's geometry as a sphere as a positive assertion. This can be used in a Modus-Tollens argument. If P, the Earth is a sphere with radius 3959 miles, which is a positive assertion by the globers, the consequence of that in geometric terms is, then Q, every distance measurement to horizon has to be no further than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, or 3.569 times the square root of the observer's height in meters, because that's the straight line tangent point horizon in the Earth curve maths that asserts the horizon is Earth curve. This is what every glober claims when using this image as Earth curve proof. But embarrassingly for them, not Q, the distance measurement to the horizon in the Lake Pontchartrain image exceeds the geometric limitations of the official Earth curve maths. Therefore, not P. Not only is this Earth not a sphere of radius 3959 miles, the Earth is not a globe. Earth curve geometry does not match what we see in reality, nor does the globe model rendered over the top of the image. So what does that mean, Red's Rhetoric?
This is great because only models that are able to reliably make predictions are the ones that should be followed and trusted.
And I think it's safe to say that the globe model has absolutely failed that test, Reds. The globe model can never be followed or trusted, and this is why Soundly's image of Lake Pontchartrain debunks the globe. This is humiliating for the globe believers when their Earth curve proof turns out to debunk the globe. But this by itself isn't the most epic debunking ever. Yeah, this gets a lot worse for the globe. Just when you think the devastation for the globe is over, this isn't the only one of Soundly's claimed Earth curve proofs at Lake Pontchartrain, is it? Let's have a little look-see at the Causeway Bridge. From a height of 41.2 metres, the Advanced Earth Curve Calculator tells us that the distance to the geometric horizon on the globe model from a 41.2 metre observer height must be no further than 22,910 metres. But in Soundly's image, we are told this horizon distance from a 41.2 metre height is far beyond that at 26,457 metres. So in another one of Soundly's Earth curve proofs, the distance to the horizon in this image again exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe. This image is another black swan. Thanks, Soundly, you've debunked Earth curve and the globe again. But why stop here? Let's keep going through this little gold mine animation comparing globe renderings to Soundly's images. From a 1 metre observer height, the distance to this horizon in this image is 3,919 metres. But the official globe maths states from a 1 metre height, the distance to the horizon has to be no more than 3,570 metres, meaning the distance in this image once again exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe, making this Lake Pontchartrain Black Swan number 3. Now changing to an observer height of 9.5 metres, the distance to this horizon in this image is 12,088 metres. But the official globe math states from a 9.5 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon measurement has to be no more than 11,010 metres, meaning the distance to this horizon exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe. For those still playing at home, that makes this image Lake Pontchartrain Black Swan number 4. Increasing again to an observer height of 39 metres, the distance to this horizon in this image is 24,530 metres. But the official globe math states from a 39 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon measurement has to be no more than 22,350 metres, meaning the distance to this horizon exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe, making this image Black Swan number 5 and counting. How many black swans is Soundly going to give us? Well, there should be none if we live on a globe. Now at 97 metres height, the distance to this horizon in this image is 38,570 metres. But the official globe math states from a 97 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon has to be no more than 35,150 metres, smashing this horizon in this image almost 3.5 kilometres further than the globe's geometric limitations, making this image Lake Pontchartrain Black Swan number 6. Dropping back down now to an 11 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon in this image is 12,750 metres. But the official globe math states from an 11 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon has to be no further than 11,890 metres. That's right, the horizon in this image exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe, making this black swan at Lake Pontchartrain number 7. Has Stanley been humiliated enough yet? Nah, not even close. From a 5.5 metre observer height, the distance to this horizon in this image is 8,975 metres. Chances are surely at least one of these is going to match the globe maths. But nah, globe math states from 5.5 metre observer height, distance to this horizon on the globe has to be no more than 8,371 metres. And yep, the distance to this horizon exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe. You're looking at Lake Pontchartrain, black swan, number 8.
Stop! Stop! He's already dead.
But the animation just won't stop. Now from a 3.5 metre observer height, the distance to this horizon in this image is 7,625 metres. But the globe math states from a 3.5 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon has to be no further than 6,678 metres, meaning the distance to this horizon in this image exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe for Lake Pontchartrain, black swan, number 9. Maybe looking through a real theodolite might help. Again, from a 3.5 metre observer height, the distance to this horizon, this image, is still 7,625 metres. Come on, they're just taking the piss now, aren't they? We literally just learnt that the globe math states from a 3.5 metre observer height, the distance to the horizon on the globe has to be no further than 6,678 metres. They just love the pain of being told. This horizon in this image still exceeds the geometric limitations of the globe. Hold the phones. We've got an extra caption. Looking through a real theodolite, note, eye level matches. The only thing you're looking at in your scope is a big, fat, double-digit black swan. That's right, Lake Pontchartrain, black swan number 10. It is just raining black swans at Lake Pontchartrain. Fun fact, what's a large group of black swans called? A bank of black swans. As humiliating as it is for my mate Stanley, he's just gifted you, count them, 10 separate globe debunking examples from a range of heights and distances, demonstrating that the horizon is not Earth curve. Get this straight, globers. You will not find any example of Earth curve ever, because Earth curve does not exist. Each and every one of these black swans from Stanley at Lake Pontchartrain debunk the globe in their own right. But together, this is the biggest, most epic globe debunking ever, especially considering all 10 examples were claimed to be Earth curve proof by the globe believers. Read 'em and weep, globers. The bank of black swans at Lake Pontchartrain. So next time a con man like Mick West or a fraudster like Rhetoric tries to pass off one of Stanley's images of Lake Pontchartrain as proof of Earth curve, have a good laugh at them, point them to this video, and congratulate them, because they've just debunked the globe with a black swan.
There are several photographs and videos of the Louisiana Lake Pontchartrain causeway and transmission lines showing what globe enthusiasts claim to be visual proof of the curvature of the Earth. In the footage, the bridge and transmission lines, when viewed from a certain angle and height, appear to curve downwards as they tend toward the horizon, and this apparent curvature is claimed to be proof of the globe. The first thing to notice when considering this footage is that the curvature is not at all uniform, as it must be on a globe. Instead, there is almost no apparent curvature in the foreground, and far too much curvature appearing in the background near the horizon. If you trace a circle completing the curve in these pictures, it is clear that they cannot be showing the curvature of a globe nearly 25,000 miles in circumference. The bridge itself is just under 24 miles long, and a circle traced over the radically curving section near the horizon would represent a tiny globe, only a few hundred miles in circumference maximum. This shows that the alleged curvature is actually a visual phenomenon, and not a physical one. In fact, by placing a series of identical blocks on a flat table and filming from a similar height and angle, the exact same seeming curvature effect can be achieved. Visually, it appears as if the blocks toward the back of the table are getting shorter, or that the table itself is curving downwards. But in reality, we know the table is perfectly flat, and the blocks are all equal height. Likewise with the Lake Pontchartrain transmission towers, visually, it appears as if the towers in the background are getting shorter, or the lake itself is curving downwards. But in reality, we know the towers are all equal heights, and Lake Pontchartrain is perfectly flat. How do we know that Lake Pontchartrain is perfectly flat? Because water does not have the physical capability of showing convexity upon its surface. All water, when contained and undisturbed, forms a horizontal level across its surface and is incapable of maintaining any kind of curvature or height differentials. Whether in a beaker, bottle, or bathtub, a pool, lake, or an ocean, the natural physics of water remain the same. Globe apologists will claim the mythical force of gravity somehow causes lakes and oceans to bend in conformity with their fantastical ball earth. But, conveniently, of course, only at a scale too large for them to recreate. In reality, no matter what the scale, all contained, undisturbed bodies of water are demonstrably flat, including the 24-mile expanse of Lake Pontchartrain. This becomes obvious when viewed at altitude, as the entire lake and causeway can be seen with a perfectly flat horizon above them. With the use of high-altitude balloons, it becomes even more obvious, as they reach heights of over 120,000 feet, capable of seeing for hundreds of miles in all directions. Ironically, when confronted with these flat horizons, globe Earth apologists use the exact opposite excuse, and no matter your altitude, always claim you simply aren't high enough to see the curvature. In other words, they claim at ground level the Lake Pontchartrain bridge and transmission towers are bending around the physical curvature of their globe just 24 miles away. But at high altitudes, where we can see for hundreds of miles in all directions, that is somehow not high or far enough to see the curve.
Hi, Flat Earthers. This is Zach.
And this is Karen B.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen these pictures and videos before, but they are everywhere now. This one, for instance, was taken in Lake Pontchartrain, and some people say it proves the curvature. I don't know if these guys have ever done any research on that, but we're gonna debunk that anyway. We're gonna show you an experiment. So before we get to that, I want you to see what some people say about these pictures. We got someone here that some of you may probably recognize. His channel is dedicated to correct the flat earthers, and I appreciate that, I really do. But if he has something wrong, then I think we should return the favor, right? So let's just listen to him.
And you probably have heard of the Lake Pontchartrain imagery. There's a rare case where you can sight along just like you're sighting along a pool cue, and that is these power lines. And these power lines are exactly in a straight line. Power lines are exactly in a straight line. Power lines are exactly in a straight line. Exactly in a straight line. They're all exactly the same height. You can actually photograph this from either end, and it does curve. And Soundly has a wonderful channel. I highly recommend that you subscribe. And you literally can see these power lines curving over the earth.
So he said that those power lines are exactly on a straight line, and they are all exactly the same height. Now I'm not going to argue the same height because I have no idea if they are really the same height. I don't even know where he got that information from. He must have done some good research on it. So let's say they are really the same height, okay? But are they really on a straight line? Let's find out. This one is easy. All we gotta do is go to Google Earth and find the power line in Lake Pontchartrain and see for ourselves if they are really on a straight line. Well, I found them, and I'm just gonna draw a straight line from the beginning to the end and see if he is right. Well, he is not. They are not on a straight line. What's up with that? Should we just let it go like they do when we make a mistake? Did he just draw a line from the beginning to the middle? Did he even check that on Google Earth? I don't think so. But here is something that I want to point out before we do the experiments. Google Earth is like a photo puzzle. They take pictures from high altitude planes and put them next to each other, then they wrap them around the globe and they try to make them fit. But they fail when it comes to long bridges or power lines like this one. If you look carefully at the lake, you will see a change of colors, and between these colors you often see a distortion of a building or a line or even a person. The question is why? Well, if I take too many pictures of a flat table with some stuff on it and try to stitch them together in Photoshop, I will have no problem at all even if I change the height of the camera. There will be no distortion. The only problem I will have is the quality of each picture, right? So when NASA takes pictures from high altitude planes, the quality and the clouds or atmosphere should be their only problem, but that's not what we see on Google Earth. They should have no problem in wrapping pictures around the globe if the Earth is really a globe. But when would they have a problem? Well, they would have a problem if they take pictures of a flat Earth and try to wrap them around the globe or vice versa. So if you follow these cables, you will see how they are making them curve to the right to make them end in the right position on the other side of the lake. But if they put them on a straight line, there will be a distortion on the shore. But this does not mean that the power lines are not curved at all in the real world. Yes, they are, and we're gonna test each picture separately. So in the first picture, they kinda look like they are on a straight line. Not 100% a straight line, but we can consider that as a straight line just to make them happy. As you can see, the yellow line is not in the middle anymore. Alright? Well, you can try that yourself if you don't believe me. Same thing happens with the second picture. Now let's move to the last one. Check this out. We're gonna start from this first power line and we will move to the last one in the same picture. See how they are curving in one picture? The length of all this line is 10 miles and the height could be around 180 feet. And the pictures that we have are obviously not taken from the ground or sea level. So if we assume that they are taken from only 10.5 feet, the viewer can see 155 feet of the last power line. Only 25 feet will be hidden behind the supposed curvature. So all the power lines should be visible to the viewer. If the power lines are not on a straight line and you are on a flat plane, they will look bent to the right or to the left. But of course, from a far distance, they will look like they are going behind the curvature, because the horizon line is 3, 4 or 5 miles away from you depending on your altitude. But the last power lines that we proved they are curved are 10 miles away from you. And that makes them look like they are going behind the curvature because they are behind the horizon line. If they weren't behind it, you would be able to tell they are not behind the curvature. Got it? Before we go into details, let me remind some people of this. When we did the laser experiments in Lake Pontchartrain in Budapest, many of you said that the curvature cannot be detected in a lake because it's like a container and the water has to be flat, so the experiment should be done in the ocean. Now the same people are telling me that they see the curvature in Lake Pontchartrain, which is actually an estuary. Oh, contradictions. But you know what? Contradictions do not exist. Whenever you think you are facing a contradiction, check your premises. You will find that one of them is wrong.
My eye level for this day was 100 feet above sea level, taken at Fundy Park, New Brunswick. There are 3 important things to note in this observation. First, the island is all out on Fundy Bay, 24 miles away, and would have 92 feet of that alleged curvature. Let me mark that. Second, the point on the left is showing trees at the lagoon, no more than 25 feet high. The island goes up to 90 feet high, yet it isn't blocked by the 92 feet of globe Earth curvature. The point on the right end of the island has rocks to the right that are blocked at high tide. This means they cannot be any higher than 22 feet above sea level. Yet 92 feet of curvature can't block them. The important thing here is to realize there is no measurable curvature to match globe Earth curvature predictions, based on a sphere 25,000 miles round. So this shows zero measurable curvature to 24 miles away, with my camera at 100 feet above sea level. Now let's take this one step further and look at the third point that smashes the globe model predictions. That is Nova Scotia 42 miles away. Earth curvature calculators predict 590 feet of Earth curvature. However, the land at 42 miles is less than 200 feet high. It doesn't match globe predictions. So where is 590 feet? I just checked and found 590 feet at 45.4 miles away, and more distance means more curvature. The predicted amount of curvature 47.6 miles away, which demands 833 feet of curvature. Again, it doesn't match globe curvature math. And that's another nail or two in the Soundly's less than sound observation. Again, these people are deceivers, and still have their lying videos on their channels. As always, thanks for watching. If you like the content, please click the like button. I would ask that you share this video. It's vitally important to point out the deceivers, who are conning globe believers for profit. Again, pray for my family, that they might find truth while my wife and I are still alive to see it.